Recording this.
Yep.
Okay, so we covered EC2 in that we focused on load balancing, then auto scaling as well. So we created a couple of Windows servers, put them behind the load balancer and see saw how that works. Created sample HTML files in each of those servers, right?
Yeah.
Then we did auto scaling as well, where we created a Linux server, took an image of that, and pushed that in the auto scaling and set that up as thresholds and say that okay, if the machine has a traffic very high and the CPU really goes up to an X percentage, then we bring up a new machine. So we spin up a new machine, and just in case the traffic goes down because a sale is over or for whatever reason, the machine gets terminated automatically.
Yeah.
So along with that, there are lots of things here on the volumes. On the volumes thing, we have you can attach elastic volumes here called as EBS, elastic block storage. So when you create a volume, um, it's going to ask you, what kind of disk do you want? Do you want a machine with provisioned IOPS or cold HDD, throughput optimized HDD, or whatever? You can select that. Just the speed varies. So if you select a magnetic one, it is really used for um, you know testing purposes because the IOPS are really not applicable here. But if you go for provisioned IOPS, you can change the IOPS here from 5,000 to 20,000. One thing that you keep in mind is that when you create a volume in one of the availability zones, your instance should also be in that same availability zone. It should not be in a totally different area.
It should be in the same availability zone, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The other part is snapshots. The purpose of the snapshots is just in case you are doing a major change to the machine, like um, patching it or updating the
It
signal.
is more like backup, right?
Um, it is kind of a backup, but in a backup, you can pick up which file you want, which folder you want, what do you want to restore. But in the snapshot, you
Okay.
have no option. You have to go ahead and take the entire snapshot of the machine. And when you're restoring the whole machine. So the state of the machine is captured. And in the backup, you can back up one particular file, the system state backup, a particular folder, a couple of, or a particular drive or something, right?
Okay.
So you can do that.
Yeah. Mm.
So that is a snapshot. So you can always revert back to that. So select that and you can always revert back to that particular snapshot. Then you can what you need to do is create a volume out of it first and then attach it to the instance. So that's how it goes actually. It's not a direct reverting.
Okay. Okay.
You know what security groups are? Security groups are nothing but like a firewalls, which are prevalent in your traditional environment as well. And you have inbound and outbound ports and tagging there. So that's how you would access your machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
basically, it's more talking about a service model in AWS called as infrastructure as a service. In infrastructure as a service, you will have your entire infrastructure, which is virtual machines, firewalls, load balancers, autoscalers, right?
Databases.
Now, when we talk about databases, you can either host the database on a server or in cloud you will go for platform as a service where you are not actually paying for the server but you pay only for the database size.
Okay.
That is called as platform as a service. Now here when you are creating an instance, and let's say I pick up a Windows instance from the menu, I scroll down and pick up a Windows Server 2016 SQL Server Standard. And that comes with SQL installed on the top of it. That's good. This is infrastructure as a service. But as a database guy, I'm never making use of the operating system which is on it. But it's just as an interface which is letting me communicate with to the SQL. But I'm paying for the licenses for SQL for the Server 2016, which I don't want to because I'm not using the operating system. I'm only using SQL standard on top of it. I don't want to pay for the licenses on the Windows Server. So by doing so, I'm going to go for platform as a service where I will just pick up the database. Let's go and do that actually, talking about relational databases. Let's go to the RDS section. Okay. And no, Amazon gives you bunch of options here, lot of options as far as database is concerned. You can create a database of any amount of size which is scalable, any kind of database which is SQL, Microsoft SQL or Oracle.
I'm unable to see the screen.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Now the screen was not shared. Okay. So you can create any kind of database here. You can create an SQL or Oracle or Postgres. So when you click on launch the DB instance, you will again get a menu. The Aurora, Amazon Aurora, as the name says, it is Amazon focused and it's created by Amazon itself or owned by Amazon. But apart from that, you've got all of these options. You can create an SQL or MariaDB or Postgres, Oracle SQL. You've got a lot of these options. This is Microsoft SQL. Within that, you can select SQL Express Edition, etc. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So all of this is free tier eligible, and the only one that's free tier eligible is that's free tier. Postgres, that is also free tier. Or a couple of them that are free tier. SQL, the only one that's free tier is Express Edition. It's okay. Let's go ahead and go for the Postgres SQL instance and see how that works. Now I'm gonna select or give an example here of Postgres when you're doing relational databases. Scroll down. Now, when you're hosting these databases, on what kind of server do you want to run it, or what version do you want, or what kind of licensing model that you want? You can select any of those versions from there, and what kind of server on which you want to run this instance. I'll cancel this and start over and click on instances. Let's see if I got any instances now. Hopefully, I don't have anything. There's no DB instances. I'm not sure where this came from, so I'll really pull up my billing. The final snapshot now. But that will take some time to get rid of it. It still says 1 of 40. Regardless, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that and select Postgres and select that. And ask me whether you want to do it for production or dev. Select one test which will be under free tier eligibility. Now here you have multiple versions. You can select the version that you want based on the application that supports it and what kind of instance class you want. You can run that machine on any kind of server. If you want a faster machine, of course you're going to pick up a machine with higher resources. Now when you click on it, on the right side you will see whether it is eligible for free tier or not. Network performance is high, but then as a T2 micro, it says that um, network performance is low and free tier eligibility is there. Yes, this database will be hosted on a machine that has one CPU and one memory. And I can also select whether I want to go for multi-easy deployment. That means my database will be hosted in multiple geographical regions, or multiple availability zones within that region, and the storage type as well. So basically you are selecting, your instance type here. When I say instance type, this machine will not be accessible using an RDP or Putty, because if you see that closely, it does not give you an option to select an operating system. And you do not have an option there to select an operating system here. So there is no operating system. It directly hits somewhere on the cloud, somewhere in the AWS arena. So this machine, one CPU and 1 GB RAM is not accessible with RDP or Putty. All you can do is access the database. So storage type, magnetic, which is very low IOPS, provision IOPS is very fast. General purpose is next. So when you select provision IOPS, you will have options to know how much of IOPS are you looking for. Earlier, when you were creating volumes, even there you had option to select where do you want to host your volume. You want to host it on magnetic or provisioned IOPS or SSD, and then we can specify the numbers as to how much of IOPS are you looking for. So for now, I'll go for
when we have an option to select an operating system, it is more like infrastructure as a service, right?
right. Correct.
Okay.
These are all cloud databases, and AWS will offer you a wide range of databases as you saw, and you can pull that up based on your application requirement. Now these databases that you're creating are fully managed and can be launched within minutes, let's say. So yeah, let's give 5 GB for our testing purposes. That's a lot, and that fits into our feature as well. Let's give it a name. Database identifier is Postgres Lab or something. Master username, it cannot be root, it cannot be SA, because these are well-known names. SA is used in SQL as a super administrator is what SA stands for. And I can also not use administrator that account. Here. I need to give something different. Right? So I'll say AWS root account or something. The password, something. Now, you don't have to worry about these passwords. Now, unlike EC2 instances, if you lose the PEM file or the PPK file, you'll not be able to get into the server. That's not the risk here, because you can always get into the AWS RDS and reset the master password. You don't have to worry about too much worry about this. But it's always good to document the credentials. Usually in production, the credentials are stored somewhere in a vault called as password vault or something. Then you can look down for products that, let's say, password. Yeah. A lot of organizations that give you the best password managers. Manage the password.
These credentials,
Huh?
These credentials are stored in EBS volume, right?
EBS volume, no. What is EBS? EBS is elastic block storage, which is the hard disk of that machine. You're not selecting any hard disk here. It's the database size.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that in the previous section, I go hit previous, these credentials, in organization you will have several applications, several mail
Okay.
servers, enterprise servers, authentication servers, Linux servers, and every server will have a password. Every application will have a password. You don't go around publishing that password somewhere. So you put it in a vault so that you can always retrieve it from the vault. So I've seen this one, CyberArk, called as Privileged Account Security Solution, which will let you put your passwords there, and you can always unlock it, and then you get an OTP on the phone. You put that OTP in the software, and that's when you can unlock the password. That's for privileged access. Getting it right?
Yeah.
So after 15 days, what do you do if you forget the password? Yeah, you can go ahead and reset it. That's one way. But the applications that are dependent on it will fail because you are resetting the password.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to store this password somewhere for a general use because you may leave the organization. You are the Postgres administrator. You may leave the organization, go somewhere else, or you are joining an organization where the administrator has left. What do you do? You need the password for this Postgres. I'm just talking ad hoc here, not specific to Postgres or AWS. It is specific to an organization's application. Where do they keep their passwords? So if in about 10 years time, there will be a lot of hire and fire happening. What if the guy leaves the organization or somebody is fired? Along with the user goes, that's good. The administrator leaves the organization, finds a job somewhere else, but what about the assets that he was managing? What about the credentials? Is that guy is the only guy who knows? So we need to put all these passwords in a centralized location like this is an example that I'm giving. CyberArk is a famous one, but there are a lot of those. Password bank is another company that does that, right? So
Okay.
let's go ahead and in this discussion I forgot the password that I typed here. Right. Hit next. Now here we can configure the advanced settings. In which VPC do you want to host that? Let me go ahead and host that in one of the VPCs that I know is healthy. And then do you want it to be publicly accessible? Yeah, because I want to show a demo to you using client. I will make it publicly accessible. Then put that in the security zone. The port number that Postgres uses is 5432. That's the port number. That's the default port number, and of course I can go ahead and change that, make it 54321 or something. But this port is configured in your security groups. I'm saying create a new security group. It's going to do that and make sure that 5432 is open. Okay, 5432 as inbound rule is open. A couple of them as well. Backup retention period, which is um, what about every time you take a backup, it's going to fill up your space. And how long do you want to keep the backups for? You're taking backups every day, 2 times. So in 7 days, you will have 14 backups. Do you really need all those backups? So the retention period is 7 days. So it's going to keep the backup for 7 days by default, but you can select anything. So if you select 35, this is going to keep the backup for 35 days, after which it's going to start purging them. Okay? And then you can
Okay.
also select when do you want to take up a backup of that. Select the start time, end time, and duration as well. How long should the backup run for? Right? Monitoring, you want to enable monitoring here. If you enable that, you know the difference. It's gonna take it for every 1 minute. You can also get down to granular level, right?
Yeah.
That's seconds, 10 seconds. When it's creating the graphs for you for RDS in the monitoring section, you'll see the spikes up and down or the graphs being created for every 10 seconds. But if you say no, it's going to do that for every 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. Maintenance.
Okay.
The RDS is hassle-free and fully managed by Amazon Web Services. That means every time there is an update for your database, it's going to upgrade automatically. Do you want AWS to control that? Yes or no? And that too, it's about auto minor version. Minor versions are, like you saw here, look at this, 9.5. 5.5 is the minor version and 9 is a major version. Anything that has a prefix,
Okay.
9 is a major version, 5, which is a suffix, is the minor version. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's leave those settings the way they are and click on launch databases. Give it some time. It's gonna create a database on that instance that you selected, create that security group in the VPC that you selected, make it publicly accessible in about a few minutes. And while that is doing that, let's go back to the RDS section and we'll see what databases we have. So view your databases is what I clicked on. Uh, nasty things. So I'll go back here, click on DB instances, what's going on. I should have two, one that I am deleting, the other thing which is when it is creating, okay. So it is creating one, select that. So while that is creating, let's go over some of these options. So since this is hosted on an instance which is T2 Micro, of course that machine will have storage, memory, CPU, and you would like to see what are the IOPS for each of those components. And this is where you see monitoring, CPU, storage, etc. Right? That's the main console. Then here in this section, you'll see all the options that you selected, like the security groups. Is this publicly accessible or not? Is it available in multi-ages or not? Is it automatically backed up or not? Master user password star star star. That means of course you cannot see. So yeah, just in case you even forget the user ID, it's right here. So that's the user ID which you should be connecting to, right? But how do you connect to this? How do you connect to this instance that you created? Just for demonstration purposes, I created a Postgres SQL database. How do you connect to it? For that purpose, I've installed something called as uh, PG admin free on my client. So you can download that from postgres.org website. The PG admin free is already downloaded. So I click on that, click on start and type PG admin free. That's something I've already installed. So this is more like a client that will let me connect to my Postgres database, which is on the cloud, right? So I'll not be able to connect to it. But the question is, how do you connect to it? I mean to say, when you create an EC2 instance, you get a public IP, so you'll be able to connect with RDP, right? So here, do you have a public endpoint? Yeah. So if you see this endpoint, that is the one that I'm talking about. So when it is fully created, you will see the endpoint here. It is currently in not available state, but let's wait for, give it some time and you should be able to see that, right? There are no read replicas here, but you can create read replicas. So you can create a replica of this database for read-only purposes. You following? These read replicas will provide greater enhancement or say enhanced performance and durability for your database. So if you want to scale out beyond the capacity constraints in a single databases, which is heavily read and write oriented, or there are a lot of workloads that are happening on the database to create read replicas. You can create one or more replicas of the given source database instance, which will be eventually serving high volume application, read traffic from multiple copies of your data. So read replicas are available for almost all for MySQL, MariaDB and Postgres. All three of them you got read replicas available. So when you create a read replica, you specify an existing database instance as a source. So here you have the option create read replica, or you can just right click and say create read replica. So you specify an existing database instance as a source, and AWS RDS or Amazon RDS will take a snapshot of the source instance and will create a read-only instance from the snapshot. Getting it?
Yeah.
So eventually what you're doing is you're reducing the load on your source database instance by routing the read queries from your application to the read replica. As the name says, it is just readable, not writable. So read replicas will allow you to elastically scale out beyond the capacity constraints of your single database instance. Done? Understood?
Can you repeat it once again?
So I was explaining the purpose of read replicas. It is nothing but a copy of your database which is in read-only format. So when you go ahead and right click and say create read replica, it will create a snapshot of your existing database, and from that snapshot it will create a read replica, so that when there is high workloads, inputs and outputs that are happening on the Postgres database, the read replica can be utilized to divert some of that load. So it is again scalability inbuilt in the RDS.
Okay.
So it moved from creating to modifying at this time. And as you see, the endpoint is also created. That is the endpoint, and it is using 5432 as the port number. That's good. You see some statistics over here. Let's go to the monitoring section. So just click down monitoring. So you'll be able to see some more parameters here, like the number of connections you have to the database, free storage space available, replica log, IOPS, etc. You can create an alarm as well. Click on alarm and you can get notified based on certain parameters. It is nothing but SNS, liquidated auto scaling. So whenever average CPU utilization is greater than or equal to 30% or 40% for about consecutively a minute, you can get an alarm generated for you. Okay?
Okay.
And then you got the drop down menu here. You can look at the entire week's database, but then there's no point doing that now because it's been hardly 20 minutes that we got this database up and running. It's still modifying, but let's go ahead and give it a shot, see if we can connect to this endpoint. Okay, so the way we connect is copy that endpoint, launch the Postgres client that I have, or the pgadmin 3, click on this button that looks like a plug and give it a name, and any name, that's fine. Okay, I can give it DB in AWS cloud, or name it platform as a service. The host name is something I'll paste here, and remove that port number from here. The username, what is that? AWS root or something? I forgot that. So
Yeah.
AWS
AWS root.
root, okay. The password is something I remember for now, and say okay.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. Okay, it got connected. So I'll double click on it, and now you will be able to see everything that's there in the database. Now you can apply your database skills here to create columns and rows and play around with that. create more, um, you know, so that's the AWS route. We can create more new login role, etc. Have you worked on databases to some extent?
Uh, no, I did not work on databases.
Okay. I thought that there will be a subject in your masters. No?
We we had, but I did not choose it.
Okay, okay. Okay. So that's that, man. That's that. So just like this, you're connected to the database over here. Now you can write your columns and tables and do whatever you're going to do. And all of these is being picked up from the database and RDS that is created in the cloud.
Mhm.
So similarly, you can go ahead and choose, anything. An Oracle, MariaDB, you need to have respective client on that. So now I have Postgres client, but if you choose to install SQL, you need to have SQL client, which is called as SQL Management Studio. Oracle, you need to have an Oracle
Yeah.
client. Postgres, you got Postgres client. MySQL client. So if you have a client, you'll be able to connect to the server. Okay?
Okay. Got it.
Awesome. That work of database creation is still in progress. So lots of options here. And of course you can go to this and modify that. Right now it's all grayed out for me because it's still in progress. It's still modifying those things. Any questions?
No, I'm good so far.
Okay. We'll talk about one more concept in storage called as EFS, Elastic File System. And for that I will need at least a Linux machine. Do you have a Linux machine with you in,
Uh,
in your EC2?
I have no, not yet.
Okay, okay. This one
I
is
just launched some Windows.
okay. Let me try to start this and see if we can connect. Are you comfortable with Linux?
Yeah,
You're okay.
I should learn Linux.
You should learn, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can pick it up after this class.
Yeah. I have learned some basics and fundamentals in Linux.
Mhm.
I need to learn uh, some more
Okay.
like launching servers.
Mhm. There's a lot you can do in Linux, not just about creating folders. That's baby game there, but you can create Apache like we did in auto scaling. You can also create Samba servers
Yeah,
for file, um, and then authentication servers, LDAP servers. That's big as well.
yeah. I have to move on to create servers.
Yeah, what's going on? I don't remember the PPK file, but I just want to try. It says Linux 1. I'm assuming that it's gonna be same name or something. Linux 1. Uh, okay, not there. This one. Let's see. Rather, let's do the lab on your machine. Should I make you the presenter so you can do the lab on the EFS lab on your machine? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I can go ahead and do that. It's not a problem, but somewhere we need to practice that. So I'll make you the presenter and guide you to that. Okay?
Okay.
Just made you the presenter. Please go ahead. Done? Can you share your screen, please?
Uh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I see it now. Let's go ahead. Right. Under the storage section, now we know about what elastic block storage is, right? EBS. Yeah.
Un
So elastic block storage, it gives you a volume that you can attach. It's a block storage that you can attach to your instances. So these are also
okay.
automatically replicated within your availability zone to protect the component failure. If just in case something goes wrong, it will automatically get replicated to other regions or other zones. So it is offering high availability.
Okay.
Okay. So there's another thing that we're doing now, which is called as EFS, which is Elastic File System.
Okay.
Okay, create an instance. We'll need an instance anyways. Yeah. Created in your VPC. Have you created a VPC yet?
I did not create a VPC, but I'm using the default one.
So in the drop down, you got just one in the network section.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So have you done auto scaling and load balancing labs?
Yeah, I practiced it and I just cleared all the things off of it just now.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Next. Yeah. Why do you want HTTP? You want to make it a web server?
No, I'm just
Okay.
including it.
Do you have that key pair with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to download the Pootie generator.
Yeah, you have that? You need to
I
download.
don't have the Pootie gen.
You're gonna have Putty and Putty Gen. Yes.
I have Pootie downloaded, but I don't find any Pootie generator.
You click on the first link, the CHLRK. There in that you will see Pootie Gen. See the first link here.
Here,
First link.
first link.
Yeah. Scroll down. You will see Pootie Gen. Why did you go back?
I'm sorry.
Scroll down.
Yeah,
You will see Pootie Gen.
found it.
Okay. You need to run
Now
it.
why it is
You
showing?
need to run it. Click on more info, see what's going on. See, click on more info. Yeah, run anyway.
Okay.
Is that your card?
That's it, right?
Yeah, click on load. Load. And then point it to
Okay.
the PEM file. Point it to the PEM file that you downloaded. Where's the PEM file? Must be in your downloads. Yeah, and then save it as a private key. Yeah, give it a name.
That's it, right?
That's it. Yeah, you got no business with Pootie Gen now. Let's close it.
Okay.
Now let's launch Putty. You're launching Putty.
Yeah.
Now copy and paste. Yeah, auth. Yeah, going good. Going good.
Now
Click on
open,
auth.
right?
Auth.
Okay.
Browse and point it to the PPK file.
Yeah.
That's it. Now go to the top, very top, and then no, close. Go up. Yeah. Click on session. Yeah, session. Right. Now here you need to copy and paste the public IP of the Linux server.
Okay.
You say open. What happened?
It is saying that connection timed out.
Did you point it to the PPK file?
Yeah.
Can you try that one more time, please? SSH on. Yeah.
PTK file, right?
Yeah, PPK. Double click on that file. Yeah. Do you have the public IP in there?
Yeah.
Open. Can you go back to the browser? Can you pull it up a little bit? The metadata. Can you pull that up? The bottom. On the left side, click on View Inbound Rules. Hmm. What is the IP? What is the IP address? 54.191.53.103. There is a problem. It does not connect. I'm actually doing a telnet from here. Telnet.
Telnet.
Telnet, yeah. So you gotta have the Telnet tool installed on your machine. So yeah, I'll just make myself the presenter. You know about Telnet?
I don't know much about Telnet.
So go to CMD and say Telnet, and then I'll type your IP address, which is 54.191.53.21, 53.103. So I'm doing Telnet on port number 22 and it does not open. I should get a blank screen. So Telnet is a tool that will help me connect to the remote machine, and if I'm able to connect, that means the firewall ports are open. So I see that there is some problem with the firewall, or what we call it as security groups. Okay, let's go ahead and troubleshoot that. Now I'm going to make you the presenter one more time. You can install Telnet on your machine as well. You are the presenter now. Please share your screen. You can um, yeah, install Telnet on your machine by going to Add Remove Programs. Today I got to see your screen.
Okay.
Please share your screen.
I need to install Telnet
Uh,
right now.
yeah, I'll tell you how to install that. Go to Add Remove Programs. Add Remove Programs.
I didn't get it.
Add Remove Programs. Add Remove Programs.
Attribute.
Can I get the control?
Yeah.
Do I have the control? Okay, I got it.
You got it.
Okay, click on Start.
Okay.
and type app w w I w
ww.
I z. It's not ww, it's only one w. wiz dot cpl. Enter. cpl, l as in l as in like.
That's right.
Yeah, enter. So that will open your add remove programs.
Okay. I'm unable to listen properly.
Yeah. On the left side, click on turn Windows features on or off. Once that is ready,
Yeah.
yeah, scroll down to the Telnet section. So you will see a feature called as Telnet. Yeah, select Telnet client and say OK. So this will install Telnet tool on the machine. Right, so that's done. Click on close and close the app remove programs. And then you can launch your command prompt. Type telnet space, there's nothing you need to do. Telnet space, the IP address of that machine. I'm going to tell that to you, don't worry. 54.191.53.103 space 22.
Space.
22, that is a port number. So I'm checking whether connectivity is there between my machine. 22, 22, 22. Yeah, enter. So if you get a blank screen or connectivity, so that means that the connection is open, but here it seems that it's not. So go back to your AWS, go back to AWS console, click on security groups. On the left side, if you scroll down, you will see security groups. Uday, what's going on? Click
Uh,
create a security group. Click on create security group.
okay.
Create security group. Give it a name.
Okay.
Okay, that's in your VPC, right? Click on add rule. Now I just want to create a security group and add this security group over there. SSH, select SSH there
Okay.
and say source anywhere.
Okay.
Then say save it, create it. Instead, Instead, click on custom. Can you click on custom or is it already done? Yeah, I give it a description. Source, remove that. Source, put custom.
And to put custom?
Okay, that's fine. Click on edit and remove the last line. Click on edit. Is this what you
Okay.
created?
No.
Which one did you create? Okay, close it. Close the group thing. Close it. I mean, yeah. There's a search bar, right? There's a search bar that looks like a magnifying glass. In the search bar, looks like a magnifying glass, right? Yeah, remove that. In the filter, remove it. Remove the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you will see something that you created. Which one you created out of this?
Secure.
Yes. Yeah, I want you to edit it and remove the IPv6 thing. Yeah, remove that from the right side and say, yeah, save it. Save it. I'm not sure why it's getting that IPv6 thing again. Edit it again, edit it. Edit. Yeah, remove the IPv6. Save. No, it's leave. Oh. Click on custom. Today. Edit
Yeah.
again. Edit. Remove it.
Totally remove it.
Yeah, just hit the X button. Yeah, now add rule. Type HTTP. Sorry, type SSH and type custom.
Okay.
Custom is good. Type 0.0.0.0/0. Yeah, that one.
That's it, right?
That's it. Save it now, please.
Yeah.
Okay. 833C, right? That's the name that you got to remember. Go back to EC2, your instance. Right click on it and go to networking.
Networking.
Right click on it. Right click on your instance.
Yeah.
Networking. And select your change security groups. And select that security group, secure one, and uncheck the other one.
Okay.
And say assign security groups.
Okay. Yeah. Done.
It still doesn't put it. I'm checking it from here. 54, 190, 153, 103, 22. It still doesn't put it. So there's some problem with your VPC, I believe. Can you go to your VPC?
Okay.
Did you modify something in the default VPC?
I don't think so.
Were you playing around with the VPC yesterday?
Uh,
Yeah, you did something here. See, Elastic IP, you already have an Elastic IP. Elastic IPs, you don't get it by default. Three route tables. Click on route table, three route tables. How did you get three route tables?
I just created some of those.
Which ones?
The first one and second one.
Can you delete
The
them?
third one is default.
Yeah, can you delete them? Delete the ones that you created? Or at least delete the, yeah, that one. ESS, that's the one that I want to get deleted. Okay. Yeah, delete. Delete. Hmm. If you see UD as a dependency, say okay.
Okay.
Go to subnet associations and remove it from there. Click on, yeah, that one. Okay. Click on subnet associations and remove the subnet associations, please. On the right side itself.
Yeah.
On the right side, you have summary, routes. Yeah, remove it. Edit and remove them, please.
Remove all of them.
Yeah, uncheck the ones you selected. Uncheck it and save it. Refresh it. Yeah. Now, um, yeah. Now can you try to putting? Telnet works actually now. You can try to do a telnet and you'll see a difference.
Yeah. I think it works.
Telnet works. Telnet works. Did you try Telnet?
I'm trying it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, awesome. So that's how you know you troubleshoot things when things don't work. You're gonna
Okay.
narrow down one by one. Let's go ahead and close
Okay.
this and try to do Telnet now.
Uh,
Putty. Sorry, did I say Telnet? Putty. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. So what are we doing? We were doing an EFS class. So there are a couple of different ways of storage here, right? So one storage is EBS, which you know it's an elastic block storage, which is attached as a volume to this machine. Okay, so when you take a
Yeah.
snapshot, you're taking the snapshot of the EBS volume. And you can
Yeah.
access the EBS volume from a particular region or particular location.
Okay.
right? But you cannot attach one EBS volume to multiple machines. But what you can do is
Okay.
attach an EFS volume, which is elastic file storage. It is more like a network file system.
Okay. EFS, right?
EFS, elastic file system. So can you hit DF on the
Okay.
keyboard? DF and hit enter on the Linux machine. DF. Yeah, hit enter. So those are the mounted drives, mounted volumes
Okay.
on the Linux machine. Now right
Okay.
click on the top bar, right click on that EC2-user IP, you see that, right? Right click there
Over here.
on the very top. No, no, top. You see the putty icon on the top where you see login as EC2-user authenticating with,
Yeah.
yeah, right click there.
Yeah.
It's a duplicate session.
Yep.
Okay, EC2-user. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create an EFS volume and attach or mount that volume to this Linux machine. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go back to Amazon console
Yeah.
and go to services and click on storage section. Services storage.
Storage.
Click
S3.
on EFS.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
EFS. Now there is no particular size for this creating EFS. Yeah, there is a minimum size, and you can just keep on dumping information to the EFS. There is no
Okay.
particular size. Okay. So
Yeah.
you are creating this EFS volume in the VPC, the default VPC, and you can select in which availability zones do you want it to be available.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead and select next. So you got the security group. See that security group SG. So even this volume is being attached to a security group. That means it is on the right side, extreme right side.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So on the right side, it has a security group. That means even this resource will be attached to a security group.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, you got to keep that in mind. So that means we need to have specific routing between these security groups, right?
Okay.
Click next.
Yeah.
Yeah, go forward. Next step. Yeah, create file system.
Yeah.
So you have created this file system.
Yeah.
The file system is created. The name of the file system is fs-719 whatever. It also has an endpoint name, which is the DNS name. fs-79 dot whatever dot aws.com, Amazon AWS.com. Now this has
Yeah.
to be mounted. This has to be mounted, and when you click on the Amazon EC2 mount instructions, you will see the mount instructions. Click on that. Okay. Those are the mount
Okay.
instructions. That means you need to have EFS client installed on that. So every machine that needs to have that volume mounted needs to have EFS client. So
Okay.
those are the steps, step by step process that it needs to do. Okay.
Okay.
Will you go ahead and do that? Those steps.
Yeah.
Okay. You will get some error messages. I would like you to troubleshoot them as well. I don't see a chat thing. Okay. Take a look at that link. I just shared that on the chat. Mount it and see if that works. If that doesn't work, then you gotta follow some of those steps over there.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's your homework for now.
Okay.
Any questions?
No questions.
See, that's the difference. So if I go ahead and do it right, if I go
Okay.
ahead and show all of this to you myself, then we would not have been doing such a long session.
Yeah.
And because you are doing it, we dragged it for 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
So it's more about how much labs you do, practice, those things really matter to see, where the interface are, where the buttons are, where the commands are. So
Yeah.
I was being interviewed in a very large organization, which is, I mean, my LinkedIn profile, but still,
Yeah.
I was interviewed for almost 10 hours, not back to back, but at least for 10 hours the interview happened. And one of the round was a real live round where they set up a lot of servers for me and asked me to troubleshoot. And that I did for another 3 hours, and they were watching me do it over live phone call or something, live over the video conferencing. So I had my screen shared and they were watching me do that. So mm, about that, but make sure that you are very much um, flexible with those commands, flexible with what's there. If I ask you to go and create a security group, put inbound rules, and then attach it to the instance, restart the machine using a command or something, you should be able to do that quickly. So more you practice,
Okay.
more good you will be at AWS.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I gave you this,
Okay.
so that you will be habituated to reading the documentation. So read that. If you feel challenges, you'll get trouble. Don't worry, you'll get that sorted out tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Uday. You have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.